All right, we are already through week 5 of college football. Dang it. It's amazing how fast it goes. Some great stuff yesterday. We're going to cover all the big games. We want your questions, comments as well. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. Try and remind you a couple times during the show. But my co-host, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, feeling good, obviously, about the way they played yesterday, I'm sure. And then Blaine Crane, my brother, allegedly, from Western State, Colorado, joining us as well. Guys, I'm going to hop right in. It was another great day of action. You know, we had some upsets. Had some teams come out and dominate. Mentioned Michigan earlier. They really look like they're starting to figure it out. But I want to start. All right, I want to start with some of the early games. I want to go ahead and go Texas A&M and Arkansas here. I said this yesterday, and we've interviewed Sam Pittman, one of the most genuine guys in the sport. Absolute great guy we have a ton of respect for. But it seems to me that the Sam Pittman era may be teetering on the verge of being over here. You've lost 3 in a row. Arkansas really hasn't done much since the very early days of Sam Pittman. And, you know, Texas A&M, they had some flaws yesterday. They weren't perfect, but I thought Max Johnson did a really good job, obviously, coming in for Connor Wegman, who was hurt early in that game, made some really good throws. Did have the turnover to start the second half. But what I don't understand with Arkansas, just from a schematic standpoint, is how when you have KJ Jefferson, that's literally the size of a Pizza Hut, and it's 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, you don't get under center and run the tush push. It would be 100% with that guy. Now, that wasn't the only reason they lost. Arkansas defensively struggled really to stop A&M doing anything. It looked to me like there was just a wave. A&M finally kind of got the run game going a little bit up front. But David, when you look at that, it shocks me, man. I don't understand it.
Yeah, obviously, you know how I feel about lining up in the shotgun and short yardage situations. Anyway, that's exacerbated when you have a quarterback like KJ Jefferson, which I think is one of the reasons a lot of people are frustrated this year with Arkansas, because it's not like you're starting a new guy. It's not like you were completely rebuilding this year. You know, KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders, one of the best combos at quarterback running back that we're seeing in the country, and Arkansas is still struggling. Now, fix some of the problems from last weekend, not penalized through 2.5 quarters. That's good. You turn over Max Johnson, you're able to get a fumble and a pick six. Like, when you have those sorts of things and you look at the final score of the game, it's surprising. And, you know, college football, one of the things that's really cool is when you can match a head coach with the tone of the people and the fan base you have. Like, Sam Pittman is an Arkansas guy, and that's awesome. But you know what? Ed Orgeron was an LSU guy, right? And that experiment eventually ran its course, because at some point you have to win the football games. Now, Arkansas is going to have their chance to play spoiler down the stretch here and see if a big win can keep Sam Pittman in Arkansas. You go to Bama, big games like that. But just Arkansas, Texas A&M is a rivalry. It's one of the best rivalries we have. I thought the game would be closer.
But Blaine, you talk about a team kind of taking on the moniker of their head coach. Sam Pittman, yeah, he's a great fit, right, aesthetically at Arkansas, but it's kind of like who he is and how he operates. But he's also an offensive line coach, like a tough-ass, physical offensive line coach. That has not translated to Arkansas. Your Rocket Sanders comes back. Your leading rusher at 34 yards. 34 yards, right? A&M had a guy go for a $107. Max Johnson went for about 60. And then, of course, you have KJ Jefferson at quarterback. You got to try and protect him. He went 9-17, 132 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. But how can you sit here and say, hey, I'm building the program the way that I want it. I'm an offensive line coach. I want us to be overtly physical, yet you continuously struggle to be able to run the ball. I'm not talking about broken plays where KJ Jefferson breaks 3 tackles and runs for 15 yards on 3rd and 11. I'm talking about lining up and running gap scheme, power, counter, insert, things like that. It just hasn't translated.
No, it hasn't. It's worrisome if you're Arkansas. Right now, A&M averaged 6 yards a carry. Y'all have the same amount of carries. Arkansas averaged 1.1 yard per carry. And I'm a huge Sam Pittman guy. I've always been a huge Sam Pittman guy. And it really doesn't matter. And it's funny how, because we kind of talked about this about Brian Kelly, some guys are great fits. Some guys don't seem like great fits, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have to do what? You have to win football games, right? Yeah. Your fit matters if you win football games. And right now, Arkansas does not look like a winning program. And this bags, I love Coach Pittman. They do need to get healthy. But you go back, and I saw LSU do this the other day. Any team, I don't care if you have KJ Jefferson back there at all. If you have an able body, all right? If it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, guys, just do what the Eagles do. It's the easiest thing to do in the world. You saw LSU do it, get in the same formation that the Eagles do and push a guy forward. At this point, there's no excuse for any program, whether it's Arkansas, I watched Auburn do it, to get in shotgun on 4th and 1, all right, and try to do something fancy. Arkansas right now is teetering, but I will say this about A&M. They look good. They look crisp. Anais.
They did.
They did. Truth. He's an NFL guy. They look good on both up front on both sides of the ball, and you're doing all this with your backup quarterback. So one team's trending up, the other one's trending down quickly.
Yeah, well, David, I'm going to go ahead and if you're in the chat too, we're going to get to you in 1 second. Make sure you throw your questions in there. Also, go grab some merch from Crane & Company. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. We just went over 100,000 subscribers, so thank you guys for that. USC and Colorado. This is a game that if you look at the final score, you'd be like, all right, well, it was close all the way throughout. Colorado, scored 14 in the fourth quarter. USC didn't, to kind of get them back in the game. I know there's some questions about that last drive. But look, they fought. You can say whatever you want. I mean, they're down Slusher. They're down, obviously Shiloh Sanders. They're down Travis Hunter, and they still fought. You got absolutely destroyed in that first half. And you were only down 34-14, but it felt like it might as well be 600 because USC was like a cat playing with their food offensively. Caleb Williams, we sit here and we give glowing reviews to guys, and he can do this and he can do that. Caleb can really do everything. Did have the mistake on the interception, but outside of that, watching him work from the pocket, it's one thing if you're really athletic and you want to get outside the pocket and do all these things. Caleb Williams doesn't leave the pocket because it's cool. Caleb Williams leaves the pocket because it's time to leave the pocket.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons when you watch his tape and you watch him operate, why everything looks so smooth. And then when he does leave the pocket, I mean, he made a throw yesterday, rolling to his left. I believe it was on a 3rd down. That if you've ever rolled to the opposite side of what your hand is, trying to generate that much velocity and depth on a throw is not easy at all. And he threw an absolute laser for a touchdown. He's David, honestly, and I don't agree with Joel Klatt a lot, right? I'm not the biggest Joel Klatt guy ever, but he is the best quarterback prospect that I've seen coming out of college. I'm not saying he's going to be better than Patrick Mahomes, but I didn't think Patrick Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
But from a prospect standpoint, man, this is the best quarterback I've ever seen come out of college.
Man, that's a heck of a statement. You see some people kind of roll their eyes at the Patrick Mahomes comparison, but that throw that you're talking about, the roll to the left and the throw back, the one that was a touchdown in the first half, that's the throw of why he gets compared to Patrick Mahomes, because a lot of guys can just roll out and throw on the run. We see it all the time. Some guys can throw off platform from the pocket. Matt Stafford's one of the best I've seen do it. The combination of throwing off platform on the run is something I think Patrick Mahomes has sort of been one of those guys that's like, wow, not a lot of other people are doing this at the quarterback position. And now you see Caleb Williams doing that at the college level. So obviously he's going to have to take that next step, just like Patrick Mahomes did in the NFL. And we'll see what kind of career he can have. But as for yesterday, I mean, he just made it look easy. They were picking Colorado apart in the first half, completing anything they wanted to. And in the second half, I thought, I was looking at what you were talking about, Jake. And I mean, you're right about USC's defense. Like they're about to be in for a rude awakening in this Pac-12 schedule when they have to play the Oregons of the world, and they have to play. I mean, they already don't have to play Washington State and Oregon State. So when you play Washington and Oregon, I just on the defensive side of the ball, they're left wanting to me. Now, Colorado, if you're a Colorado fan, you can take a couple things away. one, fought hard in the second half, made it a ball game at the end, and two, ran the ball well. That's what was surprising to me. I thought if Colorado is going to have a chance, Shedeur Sanders is throwing for 550 yards and slinging it all around. They actually ran the ball and had some penetration up front. Again, is that because USC's defense is so bad, or is that because Colorado's figuring some things out on the ground? Maybe a combination of both. But yeah, the USC defense isn't going to help them throughout the Pac-12 schedule.
Yeah, and Blaine, looking at USC's defense early in that game, I thought they were flying around. I thought they were tackling in space well, but it seems to me there's still not a lot of depth there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was more of them relaxing or it was more of Colorado kind of evening it out and getting some of their athletes in space against USC's athletes more. But there were times against that front seven defensively where it parted like the Red Sea. I mean, Hankerson, if he can make a safety miss every now and then, he probably could have went for $150 on some of those big time runs. It's just this USC team looks, and I'll say it again, looks exactly like every Lincoln Riley team that I've seen that's been good. Like, it's the same thing, man.
Alex,
really good wide receiver.
Yeah. Alex Grinch is stealing money. Lincoln Riley, Alex Grinch is stealing money from you, man. It was the same thing in Oklahoma, right? I'll never want to hear the excuses of our defense might have relaxed. Go ask Kirby if his defense relaxed. Go ask top 5 teams if their defense ever relaxed. You gave up almost 600 yards to a Colorado team without Travis Hunter. All right. Go play Utah with Cam Rising. See how that works. Go play Oregon and see how you think you get put up 600 by Colorado. Oregon might put up 1,200 versus if you play like that. At this point, good for Colorado. They're going to be fine. It's going to take time. If it was me and I was Colorado, the last thing I want to do with this team is get into a track meet. I said this on the Friday show. Mm-hmm. I would run the ball. If I could run it, I would run it as much as I can to keep it away. They did win possession, 32-27. They ended up having 200 rushing yards, almost 400 passing yards. But still, I know it came back and looked close late. But if I was Colorado, this is a win even when you lost. But when you have a quarterback like this, you can change tempos and still feel comfortable about it because he's at the helm. All right. I think they could have slowed it down and it would have been closer. But USC, man, and I was big on USC. I thought they got a little bit better on defense. And after watching this game, I do not feel good about that at all.
Yeah, we're going to see. We want to know in the chat, what do you think about USC's defense as well?
And the Omarion Miller kid for Colorado.
Man.
7 receptions, 196. I mean,
out of nowhere.
Cover the kid. Like, at some
out
point,
of
I'm
nowhere.
like, okay, yeah. I mean, that's another thing is like, okay, maybe you didn't know that before the game started that this kid was going to come in and perform like that. But throughout the course of the game and throughout the course of drives, I'm saying, hey, one guy's making all the plays for him. I think we'll bracket him a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to get to some bracket stuff in this Auburn Georgia game as we go down the road. But quickly, Michigan, Blaine, you were all over this one. They just absolutely destroyed Nebraska. It was just, you want to know what it's like to just be way better and handle your business. Michigan is about business, right? That's what I can tell. They show up. They're going to play their style. They don't care if you think it's sexy or not, right? They're going to pull up their pants all the way past their waist, right? They're going to button the top button of their collared shirt, and they're going to run it down your throat. And J.J. McCarthy, his arm strength, we talk about bettering yourself during the offseason, that he is absolutely ripping the ball. I mean, it is coming out of his hand. It just explodes out of his hand this year. Not that he had a bad arm last year, but I'm watching him make throws, and the way he can extend the play is fantastic. But that Michigan offensive line just swallowed up Nebraska yesterday. There were times where JJ could have sat back there and cooked s'mores and told ghost stories to a bunch of kids before he had to throw the ball. It was just utter domination. 14 points in the first quarter, shut out Nebraska. 14 points in the second quarter, shut out Nebraska. 7 points in the third quarter, shut out Nebraska. You scored 10 points, and they hit a long run on some backups. Michigan, I'm telling you what, we talk about teams developing and getting better, and people always say, well, why do you have Georgia number 1 and Michigan number 2, and you won't move them down or reward other people? I know it's Nebraska, and Nebraska's not very good, but golly, David, Michigan looked like a complete football team yesterday.
Yeah, go ahead, Blaine. You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. You've been singing the -18 praises all week.
Look, I had 2 locks of the century, and one team decided to show up, and that's the Michigan Wolverines.
The rest of us are homeless now, though, because we took your first.
Yeah, you shouldn't be homeless. You should have bet both. All right, you lost your rent, but then you won it back. All right, so we're sitting even. And this is what I thought Georgia would do. This game for Michigan, Nebraska went exactly how I thought it would. If you go back, Michigan really hadn't played a complete game all year. All right. And they're about business, Jake. I agree with that. I feel like Michigan was going to come on the road against a Nebraska team there, head and shoulders better than, and start fast early. You did that. 14 points in the first, 14 points in the second. You're up 28-0. At this point, there's 0% chance Nebraska can come back. 0% chance. So now we're out here doing what? Getting better. Michigan at this point on both sides of the ball looks phenomenal. I mean, and after watching that Georgia game, I don't want to punish people for winning an SEC game on the road. It's never easy, especially in that environment. But from the eye test, man, Michigan, Florida State, They're 1-2 to me.
I agree. I think Michigan looks like the best team in the country. I think it was good for them to get out of Ann Arbor. I think it was good for them to go on the road for the first time. Now you're going to go on the road to Minnesota next week too, back-to-back road games in the Big Ten. Look, just keep handling your business. The schedule is what it is. The players can't control that. You know, Penn State's coming. You're going to play them on the road, and then we obviously know about the big game at the end of the season. But just keep handling your business. Jake, you're exactly right about J.J. McCarthy's arm strength, man. It's just he's gotten better every season that he's been the starter, and the bigger thing for me is he's pulling the zone read when he's supposed to this year. That's the thing. Those 7 and 8 yard runs when everyone stacks the box and tries to take Blake Corum away, that's where we're going to be winning football games later in the season. And then Roman Wilson, you know, looking like worthy of that number 1 that he put on with some of those catches too.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm starting calling him the Empire.
Yeah.
That's what he is. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. That dude's hands are incredible. But we're going to get to some of these other games. Let's get to the chat real quick.
All right, let's go to Q-Smo Jimbo. $5 donation. Tough loss for my Orange yesterday. We got overwhelmed in the trenches early against Clemson's front 7. Great atmosphere. I was part of it at the Dome.
Yeah, look, I believe we all picked Clemson, if I'm not mistaken, talking about this through the weekend. And look, it was that dream crusher spot, right? You have 2 losses now. You're probably out of it you are out of it for the national championship. It's going to be tough in the ACC with 2 losses already after that Duke loss, and obviously losing to Florida State at home. But I think this is a credit to Dabo and how much that team has his back. They showed up to play, like from start to the finish, and you can see Cade Klubnik just getting better and better and better because it's on the job training, right? All this stuff in practice and all of it's great, but until you're able to go out there and stack multiple games on top of each other, where you get to see everything, you get to be in every situation at home and on the road, that's where the true development takes place. And I know that's not groundbreaking stuff, but watching him, you know, using that running element, being able to keep his eyes down the field while he's on the move and find receivers. The first touchdown he threw was a hell of a play, rolling to his right, being able to wait for that you know, turn to a scramble drill, and then you get that late crosser. But Syracuse, you knew what they were going to do with Schrader, right? You're going to get a lot of quarterback run. You're going to get some speed option. You're going to get some load option. That big white tight end they got, Villar, is an absolute problem. I mean, he kept him in the game, but Clemson has better players than Syracuse. That's what this game came down to. I thought both teams were pretty well coached, but Clemson forced the action early. That's what they had. That's what you have to do in those environments. You go to a place where everybody's saying you're going to lose, and it's one of the biggest games that Syracuse has had, even though Clemson was unranked. You know, you're in a tough spot, but you have better personnel. You got to kill their hope early. Georgia did the opposite at Auburn. You gave Auburn hope. That's when that crowd starts to be able to really work against you. But you go out there, you rip their guts out, you show it to them in the first quarter, and it lets them know, hey, all your fears are warranted. All your fears should have been there because we are better than you. And every time Syracuse would kind of inch back, Clemson would make a play. So I think it's a credit to Dabo, his staff, and the Clemson players for showing up.
All right, let's go to Brother Ben with the $5 donation. Good morning and God bless you, boys. God bless you, Ben. Taking my lumps and eating my crow and saying Florida didn't lose, but they got beat. But go Gators.
Goodness
David, what did you think?
That was on the list of things I wasn't expecting yesterday. Florida giving up 329 on the ground. All hats off to Kentucky, man. The Ray Davis kid, what do you have, 280? I can't believe a Florida team got run all over like that. I really can't believe it. And I had someone reach out saying, clearly y'all haven't watched Graham Mertz the last 3 seasons. I was like, Graham Mertz gave up 329 in the air? Like, well, he was 25 of 30, like 83% completion percentage, 220, 240 something, 2 TDs, did throw 1 pick. I'm like, man, he's not the one giving up 329 yards of rushing. So hats off to Kentucky. I love to see it because I picked them to finish second in the East, and they haven't been looking like a great football team. But you know what's great is, if you're a Kentucky fan, to finally watch that performance when you needed it most at home and you're still undefeated. You're still undefeated. Now you're going to have to go on the road to Georgia. So that's where we're really going to have to bow up and find out a lot about your team. And I don't know where they get Tennessee. Where does Kentucky get Tennessee this year?
I want to say it's at home.
Hold on, I have it right here.
Pretty sure it's at home.
Kentucky gets Tennessee at home. So there you go. And Tennessee with a nice win too over South Carolina.
Going to Georgia after you watch Auburn get 200 yards of rushing on them.
First time in what, 6 years, 5 years, 6 years since 2018.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that, but I threw out a stat earlier in the week, and I'm not one of these people that dives into, their rate per echo or this, that, and the other. But there was one stat that I thought was very interesting heading in this game. Kentucky was close to the top of the country in explosive plays, plays over 50 yards. Florida's defense was near the bottom. How many big plays did you see Florida give up yesterday to Ray Davis? He was running up and down the field. They didn't have a ton through the air, but they didn't have to. That's one of the easiest games Devin Leary's ever had to play in his whole life, because they were just gashing on the run. A lot of it was gap scheme runs. I don't know how many times they ran counter. I mean, I was watching two pullers just go and just wreck shop. And then Ray Davis, who's an NFL running back, by the way, reminds me a little bit of Ray Rice, if we're going to be honest with you, the way he runs. But watching him operate and then watching Devin Leary be able to work that play action, Kentucky's 30% play action as an offense. It is straight out of Sean McVay's motion, play action mindset. Liam Cohen, that's one of his proteges, and you can really see it. But I'll say this. We talked about Graham Mertz not being a great player all offseason, which wasn't some amazing find in some under a pyramid in Egypt or anything like that. But and including the Utah game, I thought he was punching above his weight early for Florida, because against Utah, they couldn't run it. Florida had 15 rushing yards, something like that. Well, they started to find the run game. They beat up Tennessee up front. They're able to run it right at him. And Graham Mertz was making the routine throws routine, right? He wasn't having to do anything amazing. Yesterday, Graham was really off as well. You go back and watch, they had some open guys that Graham Mertz just absolutely missed. But Graham Mertz wasn't the reason, like you said, David, that Kentucky beat the hell out of Florida. The reason that Kentucky beat the hell out of Florida is the same reason that Florida beat the hell out of Tennessee. They could run the ball right at them, and the other team couldn't. And 90% of the time, everything is built off the ability to run, because if I can run, I can play action. If I can run, I can pass. If I can run, I can find some semblance of balance, unless you're Auburn, because you just can't throw. But we'll get to that.
Well, Kentucky just wanted it more, man. Kentucky wanted it. But look, when you lose by double digits, there's plenty of blame to go around, and the quarterback's always going to take the brunt of that. I'm not saying he helped them win the football game, but, man, I was watching Kentucky run over Florida defenders. Not run around, run through them.
They were eating them. They can look. I think the smashing beers comment had a little effect on this game.
Yeah, Mark Stoops.
And I'm not typically, the coach saying this. Something was just different about Kentucky this weekend. They said the atmosphere was as nuts as it's ever been up there. I go on High Top Sports Show. It's on Saturday morning, kind of a game day thing, and it's basically like a Florida fan watering hole. It's a great time. Shelton does a great job. And, dog, the amount of ish they were talking about how bad they were going to beat Kentucky, and they were calling Kensucky or whatever and all this other stuff. So the whole time I'm watching this game, I'm just thinking about all the people that were in that chat just talking wild ish, just how pissed off they had to be. It's just, man, it's one of the things that makes college football so interesting. But Kentucky wasn't losing that game yesterday by hell or high water.
I get Billy Napier one comment, and this is what I get. Let's go to Trip Ryder with the $5 donation. What's up, Trip? All right, here we go. Jordan Hare Magic tried its hardest, but UGA got better and answered questions about composure. Adversity, Auburn only came on the 2 turnovers. Sorry for my voice, guys. I was at the game yesterday. I was yelling.
Y'all gave them hell, boys. Y'all fought, man. Those boys fought.
Okay. I've been thinking about a lot what I was going to say about this game. Look, I don't think it's any secret. Georgia has better players than Auburn, right? That's no secret. Auburn fought their guts out yesterday. They left nothing on the field. They have nothing to be ashamed of or nothing to be embarrassed about. But I feel like you could have got that one.
Yeah.
That's one that it wasn't as crazy, especially when you go up 10-0 early, right? You had opportunities, but in those games, when you're a team like Auburn facing a team like Georgia, and look, Georgia still got some question marks. I'm going to get to Carson Beck in a minute. You have to make every play.
Yep.
Every play that you make, the drop pick, you got to make that play, and that doesn't mean that he played a bad game or he's a choke artist or whatever. But you have to almost be perfect, right? Here's what I don't understand. And look, Auburn fans of teams on Twitter and X and social and stuff like that, it's one thing. You can say whatever you want. People are going to disagree with you. A couple things I didn't understand. One, defensively, they did double cover Brock Bowers right, during the game, right? It's tough to, and a lot of it is specificity on when you do it. 1st and 10, you don't need to double cover the guy, It's second and 1, you don't need to double cover the guy. But on every 3rd down yesterday, it was one of two things happening because Auburn could not get a pass rush. The only way they could get any pressure was to manufacture pressure by blitzing. And when you bring extra people, you lose somebody to double, which that's how it works. So you have a decision to make. Okay, do we not bring pressure and double cover? All right, bracket, however you want to call it. Or do we bring pressure and then we go one-on-one and keep getting cooked? It was either Brock Bowers or Ladd McConkey, and it was the same thing. It was the over by Brock Bowers. This is when he was attached and when he wasn't attached.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was the over by Brock Bowers, and it was Sale to the 2-man side with Ladd McConkey, or it was an option route where he was reading the leverage of the defender in front of him, and him and Carson Beck were working on each other. Auburn played inside leverage most of the time, so it was all outside. What I don't understand is this. When Brock Bowers is attached to the line of scrimmage, and you say, all right, we're going to rush 4. We're not going to get there, but we're going to rush 4. Why do you not chip him? You're already not getting there.
Mm-hmm.
It was just timing between him, even on the shorter stuff, even on the hitches, even on the slants. Carson Beck it was the easiest throw ever of all time. If you chip him, you throw that timing off. You give that secondary defender, whether that be a linebacker, whether that be a safety, whatever, a chance to come down and tighten that window and make that play harder. He made a couple great catches. Brock Bowers got doubled a couple times and made some one-handed catches. He's going to do that. He's a great player. Two things can be true at once. But I was so shocked that literally, even when Brock Bowers was detached, when he's attached to the line of scrimmage, chip him, beat his ass to death off the line of scrimmage. Beat him to death off the line of scrimmage. But even when he's detached, right, and in the slot, and you're going to run 2-man, that first defender, that nickel, all right, or that Will or whoever you have out there, this in the NFL, you can put your hands on him past 5 yards. You ought to be beating him to like Mike Tyson or Cassius Clay. It ought to be like that. But Auburn was letting him free release, even on the bracket. Yep. Even on the bracket, they were letting them free release. And then I have people, these fans that pretend to be analysts that really can't tell you anything schematically about what's going on in football. Say, oh, well, saying that doubling him is it's easy to make you look smart, but it's not that easy. Yeah, buddy, it is. It is. And then you have Ron Roberts, the defensive coordinator for Auburn, on social media responding to a fan because they put up the PFF grade of Brock Bowers, which had to be 1,000, right? He probably made some more money tonight after this game. Saying, I don't know what game you're looking at, but we were doubling the whole time. Oh, okay.
Really?
So now you're blaming the players. So you're going to go on social media and blame the players? Buddy, you better get your ass off social media, and I'd get back to the drawing board. And even if you're going to double some people, you need to teach them how to do it. You need to put your hands on them. But going on social media, I don't know if you deleted the post or not. Like, that's basically saying, no, I did my job. Our players just aren't good enough. You lose a lot of credibility in that meeting room when you do stuff like that. So I hope maybe Ron Roberts can learn from that. But Auburn's defense has kept him in games the whole year. Yeah, I didn't think Auburn's defense played horrible yesterday. No. And you are playing with some deficient spots. I get that. But it's on you too, dog.
They fought, man. And you're exactly right on about it. It's less about doubling and more about that rerouting. Another thing that happens when you reroute a wide receiver or a tight end like that is it throws off the timing for a young quarterback who's on the road who already proved that he'll miss some throws, right? So if you can just throw off some of that timing, one, maybe you get home with 4, first of all, and 2, maybe you can force Carson Beck into sailing another throw or something like that. I mean, I'd rather Brock Bowers just go up and high point 2 defenders and catch an amazing touchdown, which he's likely to do anyway, rather than get that free release, regardless if you're bracketing or covering or whatever. But I thought one of the things that was interesting is so many Auburn fans, after Auburn goes on the road to Texas A&M and loses, saying Hugh Freeze is not the guy, like we made the wrong hire, and you guys were like, hey, just calm down, like just give the guy time. You know, this is a process that we're going through. But then yesterday, when you have the number 1 team on the ropes at home and you say something mildly critical about a schematic adjustment, all the fans saying, no, our player or our coaches fought hard and punched above their weight, and there's nothing to criticize. But
wild.
Blaine, what was it like being there in person?
It was wild, and it's a crazy story actually how I got these tickets. I haven't been to a game in a long time. The atmosphere was amazing. In Auburn, it was just Brock Bowers, man. He just knows how to drain the life out of stadiums. He did it the whole day, and I got into the habit of just being a receiver myself, and coaching receivers. I just got in the habit. I found myself just watching Ladd McConkey run routes.
Mm.
I tell you what, he was cooking our DBs. It didn't matter who you put on them. Like every time they threw it to him, some DB was getting off the ground. All right, that's how you know it's real. And you got to remember, Ladd's hurt. He's on a snap count. But I don't really want to sit here and talk about the negatives when it comes to Auburn. I kind of want to talk about the positives.
There were a lot.
Line of scrimmage up front for Auburn. Like I'm telling you right now, like it's so much different to see it in person, to hear it. Like they were moving guys from Georgia, right? And I thought Hugh had a great game plan. Like we got east and west a lot. We got sideline to sideline a lot. Georgia's very sturdy and physical, but this team this year doesn't run great sideline to sideline. I think you saw that with Auburn. Peyton Thorne's not the guy, obviously. I think we know all that, but I don't think Peyton played terrible. It's hard to beat Georgia with 90 passing yards.
Yeah.
All right. It really is. I know you had over 200 yards rushing, but I thought Auburn played a clean game from a penalty standpoint. You had 3 penalties, which is great if you're Hugh Freeze. One critical thing I thought in big situations, Auburn, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, a lot of high snaps.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of high snaps, and it messed up the timing.
Get out of shotgun, man. Get out of it.
Questionable calls from Hugh when it comes to short yardage. I don't like shotgun at all. I don't think the receivers play great. The difference between Auburn and Georgia is Georgia's players make the plays when they have to make them.
That's so true.
Right?
Well,
Auburn players do not.
Well, Blaine, I mean, look, you go back, Auburn's receivers dropped a lot of balls. I was very critical of Peyton Thorne against A&M because his lack of toughness in the pocket. I thought he answered the bell.
I did too.
To that. Is he the best quarterback in the world? No. Is he going to be the answer for Auburn to do what I think they can do with Hugh Freeze there? No. But I thought, I mean, he had 12 carries for 92 yards. He had that big run early to get him out of a hole, kind of gave him some momentum. But he stood in there and took the hits. He ran the ball with authority. I mean, that back shoulder to Malcolm Johnson, you got to catch that, son. In this game, Ladd McConkey catches that. Georgia's Rosemy Jack Saint catches that. Brock Bowers catches that. Fairweather, the one on the sideline, which, by the way, he's, in my opinion, our best. Him and Jay Fair are the 2 best pass catchers we have. You got to make that play. You got to big dog somebody at the end. Auburn's receivers, I thought, dropped 5 balls yesterday that Peyton Thorne put on the money in crucial situations. So I was very critical of Peyton Thorne, and y'all know me. I'm the type person like Jarquez Hunter. You got to catch that ball out of the backfield, bro. Like on first down on that last drive.
I like that Beatty kid better.
Like, dude, the Batee kid is nice.
The Batee kid runs just like Austin Eckler.
Dude, no, he's got a lot of little witch to him. He's a little tougher than whatever. I thought Robbie Ashford came in and ran the ball really good. I thought Auburn showed up physically yesterday. It's just, here's what's hard. And we all know this as fans, and then we'll move on. I don't want to spend too much time on this. You wait, you get hope again, right? Mm-hmm. You get hope again when they bring in, and Hugh Freeze called the plays yesterday, and I thought it made a big difference.
He did.
I thought it made, there were some questionable calls in short yardage. I thought they should have kicked the field goal before halftime. I think you take points against Georgia when you have an ATM machine at kicker in McPherson. So glad we have him for 12 years.
I want to comment on that too.
But like I'm shocked they didn't take the points. But you have hope, right? All offseason, you wait. Football is a sport of anticipation. You wait all year for your team to come out. You feel better about it. And then the process takes a while, and patience is really hard. I talk about it all the time. I just felt like yesterday, and Carson Beck going on the road his first time, I thought they did protect him early, but that lack of pass rush, I think, made it a lot easier on Carson Beck than if Auburn could just have one guy on the edge that could get it. But they don't.
Real quick, the McPherson kid is great. Kick the ball in the end zone.
Oh my God! It's exactly right.
In the end zone.
Stop being cute, man.
That momentum shift to where Auburn just scored.
Went up 10-0.
Went up 10-0. Mm-hmm. Then you kick the ball and they brought it all the way out to the 50.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. Just getting too cute. Hit it. Hit it. Guess what? You know when nobody's ever returned a kick for a touchdown? When it was a touchback.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's ever returned a kick for a touchdown on a touchback. But I'm going to be debating an Auburn fan on Thursday on Zach Blackerby's show, so make sure y'all check that out. That ought to be fun.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We're going to play a game called Give Me the Leverage in Depth.
All right, let's go to Trip Ryder with the $5 donation. I don't think I've read this. Jordan Hare Magic tried his hardest, but UGA got better and answered questions about composure and adversity.
He did.
Auburn,
you read that one.
Auburn
that
only came in on only 2 turnovers. All right, let's go to Anthony Long with the $5 donation. I know there are no moral victories in this great game that we love, but I really feel good about Auburn's future, and you should.
Yep.
You should.
All right, let's go to Ryan Gay with the $5 donation. What's up, Rhino? West Virginia's defense is legit. 2 blocked field goals. They're physical, controlling the game, and winning how they want to win. They doubted us, and we proved them wrong. West Virginia, great win.
Good for them, man. I love it.
I'm so happy for Neil Brown. That's one.
I am too.
I mean, nobody saw this coming.
No,
I mean, Neil
Brown.
I
don't think he's going to stop, Jake. I don't think they got Houston next. I think they're going to keep this thing rolling. You saw UCF just absolutely blow it at home against Baylor with the comeback yesterday. All of those games moving forward, I'm looking at West Virginia because I've always liked West Virginia at home with that home field advantage they have. They're going on the road and beating teams now. I don't think it's going to stop.
Dude, I mean, it's look, Neil Brown was legitimately on the hot seat. I get asked, hey, which Power 5 coach is possibly on the hot seat this year? Neil Brown was at the top of the list. And, man, have his guys answered the bell through injuries. You know, they've had some pretty tough injuries as well. But West Virginia, when you watch them play, you know what that was against TCU yesterday? That was physicality versus finesse. That's what that was. Nature versus nurture, Tony. Nature always wins. Like watching West Virginia play, it's not pretty. It's not sexy. It's grimy. It's grinded out. But like that, teams don't want to play against those teams, right? They'd rather it turn into a 7-on-7 game. Oh, USC and Colorado, let's just all wear shorts and go out there and throw out routes and verts. Like, no. West Virginia wants to line up, and they want to play power slap against you. All right, I'm going to stand right here. You're going to stand right here. I'm going to reach back, and I'm going to slap the hell out of you. And we're going to see if you're going to stand up. Then you're going to reach back and slap that. Oh, some teams can only go for so long in that. Right? Yeah. It's almost like Russian roulette a little bit, right? Yeah. Who's going to not saying to play that? Don't ever play that. But like, it's like, all right, you want to stand in here and play this game? We can stand in here and play this game. So I'm really happy for Neil. I love the way they're doing it. How long can this last? I mean, hell, you don't make mistakes. You don't commit penalties. You really don't turn the ball over. You're good on the ground and you know who you are. You play good defense. I mean, that travels, boys.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Keysmo Jimbo with another $5. Appreciate it, Jimbo. Can we talk about that ridiculous targeting call against Notre Dame in the 4th against Duke? The NCAA needs to be more clear and consistent with this rule. The NCAA needs to be consistent and clear about a lot of things.
Yeah, the NCAA needs to consistently clear themselves out of my way, and they need to go away. In my opinion, that Notre Dame Duke game.
Duke had it, man. Duke had it. You give up the
I hate it for Riley, man.
To Sam Hartman on the ground, 4th and 16, he runs for it.
I mean, I think they were in 2 man, and you recognize
Sam Hartman. This is why you got Sam Hartman. If you Notre Dame.
For sure.
I was thinking the same thing when I saw that
situation.
Well,
I'm like, Notre Dame loses that game with another quarterback from last year.
This game went exactly like we said it was going to. It was going to be low scoring. Notre Dame was going to keep the ball and not make mistakes, right? Sam Hartman, you look at the line, 15 for 30, 222 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Estime goes for 81, scores 2 touchdowns, including the one at the end. But, I mean, Riley Leonard, I thought Duke and them played pretty well, but Duke made the mistakes, right? Notre Dame beat Duke how Duke has been beating other teams. It's not, super high flying, even though Riley Leonard and Calhoun and those guys and more, that they make big plays, right? And Waters, love the way he plays the game. But Duke has been taking advantage of other people losing the game and making mistakes. Look at Clemson, right? In the red zone. Yesterday, Notre Dame just flipped the script on them. And this is who Notre Dame is, right? This is why, obviously, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're still worried that when you play teams, even though Ohio State has a lot of talent, right? You play teams that have guys that can, you give up 14 to 17 points in the first half. Can you hit those explosive plays down the field against really good defenses? Not saying that Duke doesn't have a good defense, but the athletes you're going to go up against if you're Notre Dame, when you still have to play USC, you still have to go on the road to Clemson. Can Notre Dame get into a track meet? Now, against USC, they can probably just line up and run the ball down their throat with Jeremiah Love and Audric Estime. But, again, it goes back to what Blaine said. You got Sam Hartman to not panic in 4th and 16. You got Sam Hartman to when you get up 10-0 and then it's 13-7 and then you go down on your last drive, he doesn't panic. It's the unteachable intangible. It's experience. What a heck of a game. At Notre Dame, you talk about just the cardiac kids. These last 2 weeks, good Lord, man.
And I've been saying this Notre Dame team isn't really built to come from behind, and yet they've done that the past 2 weekends. Now, against the Buckeyes, it wasn't enough to win the football game, but you were still down 10-0 and found yourself with a 14-10 lead. And then yesterday, a truly special comeback. But for Duke, this isn't an ACC loss. This is not a conference loss, and you're going to get Florida State on the road in 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks after that, you're going to get North Carolina on the road, and you don't play Miami. So if you're Duke, don't let any panic set in, all right? Go watch the film, learn from this, and see if you can still do something special in conference.
Without a doubt.
Let's go to Nathan Johnson with a $2 donation. Appreciate it, Nato. Says Georgia's offensive line looks soft against Auburn.
Man, I don't know. It felt like Carson Beck just sat back there all day and was at least in pass pro. Did Georgia run the ball as well as what people have come to expect with Georgia? I mean, I thought they were hitting on the toss sweeps. I thought they popped some pretty decent runs. Look, Auburn's defense can stop the run.
Yeah,
they just can't rush the passer. Like that's been the problem the whole time. So I would Georgia. If I'm a Georgia fan, the last thing I'm worried about is the defensive line. It's your ability to stop the run that I'd be worried about. And Auburn's offensive line is a lot better than it has been. But Georgia this year, and I use the term weakness very lightly here. I'm not saying they're bad. But like Blaine said, laterally, Georgia does not look as quick. They're as big, but they don't look as quick laterally. They don't have that guy up front like they've had, and you're not going to have it every year. I mean, look what Jalen Carter's doing in the NFL right now. Yeah. Look what Jordan Davis is doing in the NFL right now on the same team. But that's a story for another day. They don't have, that Nakobe Dean, that those big time guys in that front seven that totally shut the other team down. So I would actually say the opposite.
All right, let's go to Jordan Kilgo with the $5 donation. Appreciate it, Jordan. Oh, this one hurts. Blaine is a casual and an unbeliever in Brother Hugh. We're going to beat LSU. I have always been a believer in Hugh Freeze. That is what we like to call that? Fake news. It's fake news.
Yes, look, it's – well, if LSU, I mean, they got some defensive problems of their own.
We got to talk about that one. Yeah.
But, yeah, look, I don't think it was crazy to think, Georgia was going to be able to run the checkup on Auburn. And Blaine, I mean, you've been as big a proponent as Hugh Freeze as I have since he's got the job. But Jordan, I'm sure is going to call in tomorrow and give somebody hell about something. So, Jordan, we always appreciate it, buddy.
All right, Binks Majinks with the $5 donation. What's up, Binksy? Jake and Cone. As a married man, how do I approach my girlfriend about the rent?
Hey, first off, I didn't tell you that.
Hold on. I took Blaine's advice to put the rent on UGA minus 13.5. Hashtag never trust Blaine. Okay, let's not finish. Let's not.
No, Blaine said that.
Listen, this is why of the century. All right, hold on. First of all, 9 out of 10 times if Georgia played Auburn again, they cover. I don't care what you say. Georgia played terrible in that game. I watched every play. And I also said bet what, Binks? I said bet what? Michigan.
Everything.
16.5.
First of all, if y'all are actually taking Blaine's advice on an Auburn game, he's emotionally invested, guys. That was a pep talk to Auburn more than it was betting advice to y'all.
You want to know you should take my advice? Because I just won back-to-back months, and I've been in the green the last 4.
You haven't won back-to-back months yet. It's still September, bud.
Sealed it today.
No. What's today?
Look at your phone.
Today's October 1st? God,
yeah.
I don't know what day
it's already October.
I don't know what day it is.
So I'm up 30 units in the last 4 months, Binksy, so I don't want to hear nothing. I told you Georgia and Michigan.
Yeah, I'm up like 6.5 units in college football right now, so I'll take it. But I will say this. Here's what you do. You have to rip up your clothes. You've got to hit yourself or put on makeup to make it look like you've been beat up, right? You've got to dent your own car. And you got to wait till she gets home. You got to come pulling up in the driveway and stump. You got to look like boy from The Hangover,
no, it's a great
the
situation.
dentist. And you got to say you got kidnapped by the cartel, but you fought your way out just to get back to her, and they took all your money.
If she really cares about you or not, all right. You get to find out if it was about the money or not. All right, you get to find out. This is great. This is a real her.
This is not great, Binks.
This
is not great. This is a lot of things. Great is not one of them.
All right, What's up?
I do want to get into LSU Ole Miss.
Okay.
Oh,
I
my
mean,
goodness.
damn,
Defense optional, I guess.
Pac-12 game.
Are you kidding me?
dude.
700 yards of offense from Ole Miss?
It was, and teams don't typically play good the week after they played Bama. It was just a total reversal, and a lot of that has to do with LSU's defense. It's amazing when we talk about it all week that Ole Miss is a run-to-pass team. They want to run the ball to throw it, and they made the conscientious effort early to run the ball, let Quinshawn get his. Then they just had LSU. I know that JK got hurt in the preseason. They've had some turnover in the secondary. But good God, guys. Oh, my goodness. Like, you're going to have to simplify it to a almost high school level because y'all can't communicate. I'm sitting there, guys, watching around. They have no idea what they're getting. And look, Lane's a witch, right? We know Lane's really good. But there is no reason that you should be busting at the rate that LSU does. And they couldn't stop the run either. Like, where's Mason Smith at?
Yeah.
Right? When's Harold Perkins? When is this going to happen? We keep saying, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And LSU still should have won the game because Jaden Daniels is that good. And that offense is that good. But LSU, man, this looks like a couple years ago LSU when they wouldn't get out of man against Mississippi State Mike Leach and were just getting ripped to shreds. David, I could not believe this game.
I couldn't believe it either. 1,300 yards of total combined offense, 4 different wide receivers, over 100 yards receiving. And yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels kept him in that thing, making plays down the sideline. Brian Thomas Jr., look, you got to give that kid a shout out.
Yeah.
8 receptions, 124 yards. And then on the other side, Trey Harris, 8 receptions, 153 yards, averaging 19.1 per catch. Shout out to Ole Miss. I said last week, I don't think we're going to see the same offensive problems. I don't know what happened against Alabama. I guess Lane Kiffin just can't figure it out against Nick Saban, but they were going to get the offense rolling. I just thought LSU would also do the same and then cover the 2.5. So a couple of those things happened. I just wasn't anticipating 55-49, but the picture just got a lot more clear for us, right? Because that gives LSU 2 losses. It's starting to smell like Alabama out of the West.
That's what I was about to say. There's one man who's sitting in his office and looking at that LSU Ole Miss.
Dude, y'all keep saying that. I'm looking at A&M, bro. You keep saying it. Like, I'm telling you, Bama goes to A&M.
LSU. Well, obviously, if you're Nick Saban, you're more worried about LSU than you're worried about A&M walking into the season.
I don't know.
They go to A&M in the 5-game stretch for Alabama.
LSU going to the SEC championship.
Look, here's the 5-game stretch for Alabama. I was highlighting it before we got on today. You at Texas A&M next week, Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, and then at Kentucky, which is the way they played yesterday.
And at Auburn at the end of the year.
Yeah, you get Chattanooga before that. But yeah, I mean, look, Alabama's they're going to have a full plate, but it's just starting to smell like that.
Before the season started, if you're Alabama, what game are you circling?
LSU
game.
LSU, right? So after you see that LSU game, especially when your offense have been sputtering, you look get better against Mississippi State, obviously. But if you're Nick Saban, you feel a lot better about playing that LSU team now than you did before the year started.
Oh, without a doubt. And you get them at home. But look, listen how close these lines are, right? Statistically. Jaden Daniels, 27-36, 415 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jackson Dart, 26-39, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. Let's go to the running backs. Quinshawn Judkins, 33 carries, 177 yards, and a touchdown. That's kind of the outlier. Logan Diggs for LSU, 19 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels, LSU, 15 carries, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Ole Miss, Ulysses Bentley, 9 carries, 90 yards, and a touchdown. And then you go receiving. Look at this. Ole Miss, Trey Harris, 8 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown. Jordan Watkins, 5 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Dayton Wade, 7 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Look at LSU's receivers. This is almost identical, David. Brian Thomas Jr., 8 catches, 124 yards, 3 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, 8 catches, 102 yards. Mason Taylor, 5 catches, 61 yards. It's almost identical, dog. Like everybody on offense made plays. Every single person that had to make plays made plays. So it came down to defense. You had a team score 21 points in a quarter 3 different times. Ole Miss in the first and the fourth, LSU in the second. That's insane, guys.
That is insane.
That's in the lowest scoring quarter was 17 points. 17 points. They scored over 28 points in 3 of the 4 quarters. That is just it's good offense, right? You got to admit that it's good offense, but that's really bad defense. That's giving up a lot of big plays. That these drives weren't 10 to 12, 12 to 14-yard drives consistently. So, look, that's the type game Ole Miss wants to play, right? That Ole Miss wants to win. If you're LSU, you're looking defensively right now, David. I mean, you've gotten beat because you got out physical by Florida State. You got a ton of points put up on you by an Arkansas team that you saw how they played against A&M, right? It wasn't exactly the Globetrotters on offense. And then you got beat mentally and physically in this game against Ole Miss. And I don't care what anybody says about LSU. They've got good players.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says.
No, that's not a good look for LSU. And I know some people think that diminishes Florida State's win against them a little bit. But look, Florida State, just keep winning your games. Who cares what the other teams that you beat do, right? And also, I remember a couple seasons ago, Georgia playing Clemson to a 10-3 game in the opener. That's how opening games go sometimes, right? Georgia played them 10-3 and end up winning the national championship. So for Florida State, just keep doing your thing, but not a good look for LSU.
Yeah. Not at all. Not at all. Go ahead, Blaine.
I was going to get a donation. You want something else?
Yeah, let's go.
Coffee guy with the $2 donation. Appreciate it. Will even one of you have the courage to pick Oklahoma to beat Texas?
Dude, this may be the game of the year.
This iteration of the Red River Rivalry may be one of the most important in the history of the game.
Yeah.
Like
last year in the Big 12.
Yesterday, if you look at that score and you're like, oh my God, how did Oklahoma give up 20 to Iowa State? But if you saw how it happened, like one time they basically had a guy triple covered and they ran into each other on a slant and he just took off. Sometimes crazy stuff happens. But this Oklahoma team to me seems complete. Now, I watched the whole Kansas versus Texas game, and I know Jalen Daniels, right? Bean was playing quarterback. Kansas hung in there for a little bit. Quinn Ewers' bag is so deep, from the amount of throws that he can make and anticipatory. Some guys can just see the future they just put on Professor X and they can just see it. It just makes sense. But this matchup, I'm sitting here looking at it and it's a good matchup when I'm like, who has the advantage here? Which offense would you take right now, Blaine? Texas or Oklahoma?
Texas.
But you can make a logical argument for taking Oklahoma.
Yeah, sure. Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma has one of the best offenses. Jeff Levy's a dog. Right? One of the best offenses in the nation. But I've been cryptic because I watched a lot of Oklahoma football games this year. You go back to the Cincinnati game. I know they only gave up 6 points. Texas is going to drop a 40-piece on y'all. I'm just telling you. Texas is going to drop a 40. You're going to have to run with Texas to beat them. Offensively, you're going to have to show up. Defensively, you're just going to, if anything, you have to be good in the red zone. You got to give up field goals and not touchdowns.
That's what I was going to say.
Create turnovers and pressure situations. That's how you're going to stay with Texas. I think both offenses played great. I think Venables, obviously, their defense is going to take time. And they've gotten better, obviously. You can see it on the field. But they're not good enough to stop Texas yet.
Well, I do want to say this, too. You know how you can tell when there's a really good coach? You look at the amount of points that they give up in the second half after you make adjustments.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you gave up no points. Against Cincinnati, right? Last week, you gave up 3 points. The week before, when you had Tulsa in the second half. And look, I know these teams aren't the greatest teams of all time, but you still have to adjust, right? You gave up 3 points after giving up 14 in the first half. This is what I think you're going to see in the Texas game. I think Texas is going to score some points early. It may be 20-10 or 20-13 at halftime. And then Venables is going to make those adjustments against Sark. You have two brilliant minds on each side of the ball going against each other in this game. And I'm not even talking about Jeff Levy, you know what I'm saying, versus Texas defense. I'm talking about Steve Sarkisian offensively versus Brent Venables defensively. This is as good as it gets. And as a player, you enjoy this because it is going to come down to just you making plays. Nobody is really going to just outsmart somebody to the nth degree where you just don't fall down. You've got to, it's those 50-50 balls, right? It's those broken tackles. It's punching that ball out, things like that. That's what you enjoy in these matchups is the minds that are going against each other on each side of the ball.
Can't wait to break this one down all week.
Oh man, it's going to be great. Let's go to Veronica DW. Love the badge, Veronica. $10 donation. Hotty Toddy, what do you think of the touchdown that never should have happened crush cans fly harder than water bottles. My goodness.
Yeah, look, I don't think that was a catch at the end. I was surprised they upheld it. I don't really know what else to say than I think they got it wrong. But if you're going to get it wrong, and I don't want you to get it wrong, I don't know how you get it wrong when we have video replay and you can see it in slow motion. But if you're going to get it wrong, I'd rather you get it wrong leaving the call that was on the field.
Yeah, to me, that was not that was not a horrible call, and two, it certainly was not worthy of throwing stuff on the field. I mean, one, he did have a foot in bounds. He did have a foot in bounds, and he did catch it. So if we're already arguing and looking in super slow motion over the semantics of, was the ball sliding or not, then to me, already it means it's up for discussion on being able to be called what it was on the field. So I do think they got it wrong. I mean, you have super slow motion for a reason, but still, let's stop acting like that was one of the worst calls we've ever seen.
Very true. All right, Blaine.
Let's go to Steve Action Figure Frenzy. What's up, Stevie? $10 donation. Said Duke screwed the pooch on Riley against Notre Dame, and Riley injury looked nasty. Auburn forgot that Brock Bowers is playing for Georgia. I still need to hear apologies from y'all for picking Notre Dame to beat Ohio State. I will not apologize, Steve.
Yeah, I'm not going to apologize. Yeah, I'm not going to apologize, Steve. I mean, they beat him on the last play of the game by a foot. I mean,
good win.
If they beat him by 40, then I'd be like, look, Steve, you're exactly right, man. Ohio State's the best team ever of all time. But it was a great win for Ohio State. But I'm not gonna apologize for being wrong by a foot. We'll see. It's a long season to go. Long season to go for Ohio State, but that was a big win on the road, and that was a big win for Notre Dame against Duke. And yeah, there's a lot of things that, like I said earlier, Notre Dame beat Duke at their own game. They waited them out. Let them make the mistakes, and then they pounced. I do want to get this Tennessee-South Carolina game. Guys, we know it was a big one, revenge factor game after South Carolina, obviously won big last year in Columbia. Hendon Hooker got hurt. Joe Milton thought he was okay in this game, right? We wondered, how we'd be able to run the ball. He didn't really have to because Jalen Wright went off for 123 yards, a touchdown. Even the Jabari Small kid, 11 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Dylan Sampson got him one as well. South Carolina did have a 100-yard rusher, right? The Mario Anderson kid. Spencer, though, the offensive line can't protect him, man. No. Like, I don't know how many times we got to say it. South Carolina's going to go up and down like this because they're not good on the offensive line. And it just, Tennessee was the better team. They were at home. It was a crazy atmosphere. They were up 24-10 in the half, scored double digits in every quarter but one. Tennessee won that game because they were better up front. But still, I'm telling you guys right now, that Tennessee front seven, you give up 100 yards to South Carolina back on this year's South Carolina team after what happened to you when Florida ran through you like the plague. I mean, I don't trust the front seven of Tennessee, but it was a nice win.
Yeah, I agree. Joe Milton looked good. I think Joe Milton looked good. He looked okay.
He looks like Joe Milton. It's Joe Milton, man. That's what you're going to get. Like, there it is. I think
Tennessee's just a better team than South Carolina. You can't – this isn't Flex Seal, right? You can't go find something to fix that offensive line. Right? There's nothing out there. You only play with the guys that you have. I still think Spencer's a great player, man. I think he's going to have a good NFL career.
I think he will too.
William Dale with the $1 donation. Appreciate it, William. Hey, if you do donate, guys, make sure you put something under it, or I have to go look through the chat and find it. It's almost impossible to find. Let's go to that one red Supra with a $2 donation. 14th in the Big 12. # Country Roads, baby.
Hey, look,
keep it going too.
There's always that team, right? There's always that team that kind of comes out of nowhere. Right in one of these conferences to be relevant. It looks like West Virginia is that team. I will say though, boys, that Pitt pick.
Yeah,
I caught a lot of hell for that.
Looks good. Virginia Tech's not good.
Virginia Tech,
Houston, Oklahoma State, UCF, all three in a row after coming off a bye for West Virginia. Look, all those are winnable. All those are winnable.
Big 12 Coach of the Year. What?
All right, Peter Dorfitkiss, $5 donation. Appreciate it, Peter. Make sure y'all put some under it. I can't read it. Trip Rider, $10 donation. I want to see Blaine do a breakdown of Lad McConkey's routes and Jake do a breakdown of Bullard and Starks because they're the best safety duo in the nation. I would love to do that. That'd be
God, great. Georgia's safeties are just – I mean, Malachi Starks, I think he graded out as the best safety in the country. I mean, just the instinctually the things he does. We know he can play through the defense, but – the angles he takes, the way he runs the alley, the way he doesn't lean too long in one direction. He never false steps. He's always in the right spot, and he wraps up when he tackles. Hat, hands, hips, and feet. Just a football player, NFL player, best player in my opinion on Georgia's defense.
Let's go to Mr. Jones, $2 donation. He says Maryland's got the suck eyes on upset alert.
Dude, Indiana. Tom Allen's done. Yeah. He's got to be done, I think, in Indiana. They should have lost to Akron, which, Akron and Minnesota. I know, David. I'm sorry. But look, it's going to come down. Here's what it comes down with Maryland, right? You ready? You know this. I know this. David, we all know this. Can you stop somebody defensively? Mm-hmm. Can you stop them? I think Maryland, with little Tua, can find a way to score some points. And Mike Locksley's a great offensive mind. He's going to have a great game plan. Can you stop them or stop anyone that's worth their salt defensively? That's been the biggest problem for Maryland, that and those god-awful helmets and uniforms with the state flag on them. Those are the two biggest problems that Maryland has.
Let's go to Mikey with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Mikey. He says, can Matt House save his job at this point? He was considered a head coaching candidate for a lot of places.
No, I think he's about to put his house up for sale. They keep playing on defense like this. Well, it's you can never, and I'll continue to say this, and I think you guys agree with me. I think you in the chat agree with me. Make sure you hit that like button also in the chat. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not. You can never make the excuse at LSU you have bad players, right? You never want to make that. See, as a coach, you never want to blame the players either way. Because there are some instances where you do have bad players. There are times where you make great calls and put them in position and they don't make the plays. Well, you're the coach, right? Just like you're the parent. That it's your responsibility at the end of the day. You are the leader of whether it be that room, whether it be that side of the ball, whether it be that whole football team, and it does fall back on you. But what's happening at LSU is legitimately fundamental and mental, right? Fundamental is not getting guys on the ground, not gator tackling, not wrapping up, not taking good angles. The second is you're not communicating. Anytime you get something that you don't understand, you panic, right? And then you start looking at each other. I used to tell our DBs all the time, listen, if you get the wrong call or two of you have a different call for some reason and it's not split coverage, just be on the same page and run something. Because if you're all wrong, if I put the call in there and I say, all right, hey, let's go blue, 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 and y'all for some reason say, hey, yellow, 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 I'd rather y'all both run yellow than one of y'all run yellow and one of y'all run blue. Because if we're all wrong, then we're all right. At least we're sound. At least we both know what each other's doing. LSU just looks lost. And when it starts going bad for that defense, they don't have that guy that's walking over there like, hey, we got to figure this out. Like, where's the leadership? That's what I said. Where's Mason Smith? Where's Harold Perkins? Where's Wingo? Saying this stops now. All right, we've given up a couple touchdowns, but this stops now. And if I have to do it my damn self, I'll do it my damn self. That FU attitude for LSU's defense is gone. Mm-hmm. I don't see. I used to watch LSU and I used to almost feel sorry
killers
for the other team. Like these guys are legitimate killers. Like I'm afraid to be alone with these people. Like, because they play so physical and so fast and in your face, and we don't care how you feel about us. We don't care about human life, right? Like defensively, and that may sound crazy to some people. I'm not saying off the field, but on the field, you signed the paper, dog. You signed the paper. You decided to come play. That's almost disrespectful for me that you wanted to get on the same field as us. Now you gonna pay the price, but that's gone. LSU's defense now is just hoping. Guys, I really hope we can stop them, guys, man. It just sucks that we can't. Where's the leadership?
Great question. Let's go to Kenny Powers. He's cutting in $5.
Kenny Powers is in here?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And he's in here?
He says that Akron QB injury killed the -3 and the parlay. Any early thoughts on the SEC matchup of next week, Saturday in Dallas? Boomer.
I don't want to talk about it.
Undercuff kid in. You don't get post-game meal after watching that. I know you're the right. No post-game meal for you. In fact, here's what we're going to do. We're going to call your parents, right? And then they're going to come pick you up. And I would rather have a blow-up doll at quarterback than what Akron rolled in there behind them. Like, I watched him throw it to anything like that. And I hate to make fun of people, David. I'm sorry. This dude was awful awful. And you basically cost me, because if you look at it, like that Crane Thagarian here this week basically hit.
I know, I took him too in the 9-legger.
Like it just, man, it's like,
God, it's crazy. It's always like one thing goes wrong with parlays. Can't believe it. Let's go to Greg Skipworth with the $5 donation. Appreciate it, Greg. Says Bama's defense is what happened to Ole Miss.
Great segue.
Unless you can't win in Tuscaloosa with that Swiss cheese defense.
Alabama's defense is going to keep them in every game this season, boys.
Yep.
Yeah, but like, can we be honest? Like, Mississippi State sucks.
They're bad. They're the worst.
God, they're
At least
bad.
we don't know. Like, we don't know a lot about the SEC right now on both sides of the divisions, but we do know that Mississippi State just without Mike Leach there. I know it's a tough loss, man. Rest in peace, Mike Leach. But like, they're bad.
Yep.
They're just bad.
They just, and again, it's not like there's this transition to a more balanced offense is some like crazy thing. You've got a good running back, right? Tulu Griffin's a nice player. Will Rogers shouldn't be turning the ball over like this.
Mm-hmm.
Will Rogers make it? And listen, we've gassed up Will Rogers, breaking all his records because he threw it 80 times a game for 3 years under Mike Leach. Like at some point, you're 37 years old, like, and you're still throwing. The one before halftime was egregious. Took him out of the game. Mississippi State, just like the week before at South Carolina, came out, screwed up, right? Alabama snapping the ball off Jalen Milroe when he's not looking. Mississippi State gets a couple stops. All right, Jalen Milroe takes off. I had to turn it down because Rod Gilmore I can't do it.
Rod again.
Oh God, like I said, see this week. I would rather be stuck in the middle of the ocean at night for a week than listen to Rod Gilmore call one quarter of football. No, I tell you what, I would rather have to fight an anaconda in the middle of the Amazon jungle in the water than listen to Rod Gilmore call a game. Like, legitimately, y'all think I'm kidding? I would rather have to fight my way out, like Tomb Raider stuff.
Hey, it's a good look for the Alabama defense with what Lane Kiffin did yesterday against LSU.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, Lane, I thought had a good game plan. Look, Alabama's good. Nobody's doubting that. But like, this is what we've seen from Mississippi State, like the past 3 weeks. It's just catastrophic mistakes, just catastrophic. But Alabama, they're figuring it out. And I thought, David, I want to get your thoughts on this, and Blaine. I wondered if going on the road with Jalen Milroe, if they would try and protect him a little bit by not doing as much drawback, and by proxy, that actually being the best game plan for Jalen Milroe.
Yes.
Now, they did put him in a lot of drawback situations, but I feel like it wasn't as much.
Still more than I would. Still more than I would. Too often it's still looking like you have Bryce Young at quarterback. But yesterday was the first time where I thought, oh, you're actually trying to tailor this to Jalen Milroe. And I think it had less to do with him being on the road and more about playing a bad Mississippi State team where they could run the ball. Running the ball effectively helps you be able to call whatever you're wanting, right? You know, I mean, when you're getting into a game against Texas and you feel like you have to have your quarterback drop back and throw you to a win or something, I get it a little more. But yeah, it was the first time where I was like, okay, it looks like we're going to actually run this more Jalen Hurts style offense that we had when he was there for Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, Mississippi State's quickly turning into the get right team.
Team. That's so true. I do want to say this. I want to get to a couple more of these games and then to the chat and then the NFL, and then we got to get out of here. But Penn State struggled with Northwestern a little bit, turned it around because Northwestern. Ben Bryant went out, their quarterback. I thought Northwestern fought like hell in that first half. Washington. Guys, and you got like RG3 and all these other people talking about how Washington's the best team in the country. And then they say, oh, because Florida State barely beat Boston College. Well, Washington almost got beat last night by the backup quarterback at Arizona, who lost to Mississippi State. And if Arizona played Boston College, who, by the way, won last night against Virginia, I know Virginia's not a world beater, I think that game would be tight. I think that game would be tight. But Washington gave up to the backup quarterback now. All right, Delora wasn't even there. Noah Fafita, 27-39, 232 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Is Washington just USC?
No,
Like these,
I don't think so.
you don't think
With what I saw with USC's defense worse. I mean, I think Washington's better than them. Now they did go on the road. I don't know if that was their first road game this year. I do agree with you guys about Oregon, though. I think Oregon is starting to sort of cement themselves in the Pac-12, and I know we're going to break down the Utah game tomorrow because Utah, if Cam Rising doesn't come back and play, I don't see him playing in the conference championship. They just can't score. I think Washington right now. I still like Washington over USC, but I agree with you. We've been saying this all offseason. Can they be more balanced? I still think they're a little bit like the West Coast North Carolina team, where you have this quarterback like a Drake May. They just have elite wide receivers on the outside is the thing. So, look, again, with the game being close on the road, yeah, it's to Arizona, but look, man, we just saw Georgia play a close game. Even last year, Georgia plays Missouri to 4 points on the road and wins the national championship. Like, this is college football, and sometimes you just have to win and go home.
Yeah. All right, Trey Bodenhammer with the $2 donation. Why can't it be that Bama's defense is legit? Shaking my head. I believe we just
said they're
answered
elite
that for you, Trey.
They're going to keep them in every game.
Yep.
Yeah, Cone literally just said they're elite. Alabama's really, really good on defense. Really good on defense.
You always go back to the Texas game. I mean, you didn't touch old boy once in the pocket.
Yeah,
but even that one, a couple of those turnovers, got Texas in plus territory as well. That made it harder.
But Texas did drop a couple passes too, including
that's true too. Look, Sark cooked them up. I mean, we've done the huddle up segment on them. It was
Trey,
and didn't sack the quarterback. So
yeah. Trey, you're my boy, but and we talk about how good Alabama is all the time. But we're not going to sit here and just say that they're the best at everything because of what Alabama's done in the past. Mississippi State isn't that good. Alabama's got one of the best defenses in the country. Nobody's doubting that. But in that same token, last week, Ole Miss didn't even try and run the ball really. And they attacked him in the intermediate passing game and didn't attack him deep. Look at what Ole Miss did this week from a game plan standpoint. So we can say on one hand, because two things can be true at once, Alabama's got a really, really good defense, right? That did get cooked by Texas. But then on the other hand, we can say that game plan sucked. Those two things can live in the same reality. So this isn't let's all just get in a circle and kiss each other and talk about how great Alabama is. This isn't like a Tuscaloosa watering hole. You know that. So we're just going to tell you what we really think.
We're going to find out more at Texas A&M this week. And Max Johnson's going to have his hands full, man.
Oh, he will.
And the question is, will they make Jalen Monroe have his hands full? Is it going to just be a defensive battle like that?
Well, I think A&M, when they play good up front, they have the personnel to be able to really, really hang with some of these top teams. I think there's a chance, even though they haven't ran it as good as what I thought. Look, Max Johnson as a runner, sneaky. He just sneaky. He just looks like that guy. You're like, well, he's probably not, super athletic. And you're like, how did he run for 82 yards in this game with 2 scores and dive in the end zone, the pylon?
All right, Keysmo Jimbo, $2 donation. Fellas, Missouri Tigers, the real deal or fool's gold?
Look,
they're good, man.
They're good. They're a good football team.
There you go.
Football team. They got LSU this next week.
I'm so happy for Drink.
I am too, dude. They got LSU at home.
LSU at home, and then Kentucky on the road.
Wow, at 11. They're playing that game at 11 on ESPN. That sucks.
Missouri's schedule, man.
Dude, if Missouri wins this one, you've got at Kentucky, South Carolina at home, which is tough. At Georgia, oh god, it gets
ugly.
It's a little wonky here. Yeah, look, you win this one though. I mean, you're sitting there at a sexy 6-0 with wins over LSU, Kansas State, right? Memphis, which is a good football team. It just Drink, man. I'm happy for him, dude. This is so crazy. I'm sitting here looking at the SEC standings. You got Georgia obviously undefeated. Kentucky's 2-0. Missouri's 1-0. Then Florida's 1-1. Tennessee's 1-1. South Carolina's 1-2. Vandy's not very good. Then, dude, it's going to be outside of Georgia, maybe, depending on what happens in Tennessee. This is about to be a log jam in the Southeastern Conference of epic proportions.
Let's go to Mr. TW, $5 donation. Appreciate it. He says, help. The Razorbacks are in absolute cheeks. This is Pittman's 4th year. There's a loud call. There's a loud call for Sam to be fired. He knows it's a joke, and they're holding back KJ. Give me your
man, I hate this.
I hate it too. I love Sam Pittman, man.
But we got to be real. It's we took pictures with him and we talked to him. He's very genuine. But man, you get paid a lot of money. You got to win games.
And Arkansas has a high ceiling, man. We've seen what they've been able to do.
David, they were one of the few teams that returned a quarterback this year. Like
know.
should be one of the years you've been able to add more depth on defense, right?
Yep.
This isn't Sam Pittman took over. Barry Odom's having to invent defenses to be able to get through games. You're out there playing with bankers and insurance salesmen. No, you've been there long enough now that this should not be a problem. It should be an advantage. The offensive line should be an advantage. The run game should be an advantage. And you have an avatar in KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders. If we're going to be honest, DeBinion's a hell of a player. You lose Trey Knox to South Carolina. It just, to me, it's all falling apart for Arkansas. If Arkansas, let's look at this Arkansas schedule real quick. What gets him fired, David? I don't know what the buyout stuff is. You've got at Ole Miss next week. That's probably a loss. Then you've got at Bama the next week, probably a loss. That's 5 losses in a row. Then you got Mississippi State at home. Should win, right? You would think. Then at Florida, then Auburn at home, then FIU, then Missouri. So if you lose,
feel like you got to win those.
Mississippi State at home, you're fired.
Oh, for sure. But you got to, like, those last 5 are winnable games. You know, if you could win those 5 or 4 of those momentum, 5,
yeah.
You know, I mean, Mississippi State, like we just said, the get right game, right? Like if you can hold the home field advantage there against them, maybe go on the road and beat a Florida team we just saw get run all over by Kentucky. You get Auburn at home and then FIU and then Missouri. You know, I don't know. Finish on a hot streak. I think maybe get some momentum into a bowl game.
Well, if you lose these next 2, which is very likely at Ole Miss and at Bama, you have to win out to make a bowl.
Yep, because that would put you at 6, right? Or will that put you at 7?
Yeah, that may put you at 7. My math.
Well, they lost to BYU.
You lost to BYU. If you lose 2 in a row, you're now 2-5. So if you're 2-5, you beat Mississippi State 3-5, lose to Florida 3-6. Beat
if you
Auburn,
won out, they'd be 7-5. So even if you won 4 of the last 5, you'd be 6-6.
Yeah. So like Blaine said, you got to beat Mississippi State. I don't think they're beating Florida on the road.
All right, well, that's all the donations. You want to get to some NFL games?
Yep.
Yeah, one's already on.
And get our.
One's already on.
How's the
Jaguars are up 17-0 on the Falcons over in, I believe it's London, and boy, the Jags needed this.
Forgetting about these London games.
Yeah, like look,
great.
I like it, but I don't understand why.
Let's play exhibitions over there. We need real games here in the States.
Yeah. All right. We got Dolphins at the Bills. This should be a hell of a game. The Bills
game of the day.
Favorite. Over under is 53.5. I tell you what. Von Miller, I know he's not back yet. I keep forgetting for the Bills that Von Miller is coming back. I like Buffalo at home today. I do. I like Buffalo at home today. My biggest question, Blaine, is on this over or under. Like,
what's it at?
It's at 53.5.
53.5.
Is Von playing?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm not going to walk into a Dolphins game and take the under.
I know.
I know.
So the question is, do you bet the over or don't touch it?
I feel like they want you to think it's a trap.
Yeah, so it's a trap within a trap. Like this is
you scored that many points. If you walk into it as a bettor, right? You scored that many points the week before that. What do you think coming into this week? Right? It's like you're not going to do that obviously again. So people, they want you to think, right? Since they scored that many points, the under is going to hit. They're not going to do that again.
So Leo DiCaprio's in the line, setting the inception line.
Down. Give me the over, 100%.
So Leo DiCaprio is going to bust into my room in 5 minutes with a metal briefcase handcuffed to his wrists and a gun pointing at me. Like he's
doing it now. He's there now.
He's down.
Your real body is that he's there now. Yeah,
he's in your kitchen.
Yeah. Oh God, if I had to, I don't know if I'm going to bet
how old
this
are you?
one.
You're older. Oh wait, you're older 25. So Leo's not in your house. Never mind.
Wow, that's an elite joke. High level.
Well,
are you? How about you, Blaine? You going to take the Dolphins in this one?
Yeah, I would take Dolphins money line.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Wow.
Until someone shows me they know how to stop Tyreek Hill.
That's fair.
Dolphins.
I really like this Dolphins team a lot, but part of me just thinks Jake's right, man. Buffalo at home, they've started to figure it out. I think maybe they hold that home field advantage, but that's the game of the day right there to me. Dolphins at Bills.
Commanders, Eagles. 9.5 point favorite, over unders 43. Hey, you want to see me? Not touching it.
9.5's a lot to me.
Not touching it. Not even close. Eagles
money line would be the only thing I'd bet.
Yeah, that's at minus 440. This just feels like a backdoor. Sam Howell played so bad last week against Buffalo. I don't see him playing that bad again this week. But I don't. Do I take the Eagles? Like what is the Eagles TTP? Let me see this real quick. Oh, you know me. Let me get to touchdown scorers. God, Reed hit a Josh Allen anytime touchdown prop last week. I told her, I was like, no, don't take that. That's never gonna hit. Here we go. You've got the Eagles over 26.5. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
You got them over 2.5 touchdowns. That's at minus 190. Wow, I like the over 26.5, but I don't take TTPs anymore, so screw it. All right, we've got, let's see, the Bengals at the Titans. Ooh, gross. The Titans are 2.5-point underdog at home. The over-under is 41.5. Under?
Under. I'm going to take the Bengals to win the game.
What do you like? Money line.
Titans money line?
You do this every week.
Titans money line.
What do you know?
This game's at Tennessee, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know that they can run the ball, and I know that Tennessee can stop the run. I think they're going to run it all over the Bengals. I really do.
Really?
I think the Bengals up front are that great. They can rush the passer, but they're not great run stoppers.
Yeah.
Man, this Tennessee team is just not great to me.
Just
defensively,
when I become best friends with Vrabel.
Yeah, they're different at home though. I don't think that's as. I may buy this up to 3.5 and take this as a show bet. Because I mean, Joe Burrow's still that calf.
Yeah,
still got that calf. Vikings 4.5-point favorites on the road at the Panthers. Over under 46.5. Panthers are plus 180 on the money line. Bryce Young's back apparently.
Like, hey, someone's going to win a football game. One of them
somebody's going to win. Somebody's got to win.
Same with the Bears and Broncos. Someone has to win out of the game.
Kirk deserves a win. I think Kirk deserves a win. Bryce is starting for the Panthers. I believe Shaq Thompson's still out on that defense. Up front, if you're the Panthers, you're an extremely good football team. Secondary, you're okay. I just think the Panthers don't have enough yet to really beat the Vikings because of what the weapons the Vikings have. Let Kirk Thuggins get him one, man. He's been playing good.
Yeah, let Thuggy Thug get him one. All right, Ravens at the Browns. Browns 1.5-point underdog plus 102 on the money line. Should I take it? Should I take Cleveland?
What's the over under?
39.
38.5.
I like the Ravens.
Really?
I like the Ravens too. Deshaun played better last week, but he still doesn't look like Deshaun Watson.
Man, I'm going to go with the Browns on Monday. You know what? I'll take them plus 1.5 because that worked out for me with the Saints last week. I took the Saints plus 1.5 instead of on the money line.
Yeah.
Woo!
That's a win. That's a win.
All right. Steelers at the Texans. Texans 3-point underdogs at home. Over under is 41.5.
Oh, Deshaun's out.
Give me the Texans.
Whoa! What'd you say?
Someone in the chat said Deshaun Watson's out.
Deshaun's out?
Interesting.
What?
He's on my team.
Come on, dude.
Deshaun Watson is questionable.
Browns Watson won't play versus Ravens. Man, come on, dude.
Where do you see that at?
On ESPN.
They just said it?
Source, Browns QB Watson won't play versus Ravens because of a right shoulder injury. I wonder how you got that. But DTR is going to start, who looks really good. Now, don't trust it.
No.
Don't trust it.
No.
Can't do it.
Pick the Ravens.
Can't do it. God almighty. Steelers and Texans.
Akima knows Osama, great job.
Yes, thank you in the chat.
I'm talking about.
Give me CJ Stroud and the Texans in this one.
Not a bad pick.
Been playing better, man.
God, I'm not touching this. I'm just so not touching this.
Great. Calvin really scored
and you get 3 points at home?
Yeah, I mean, do what?
Not a bad bet. Not a bad bet. Texans money line.
Plus 136 on the money line. All right. Rams at Colts. Colts, 1-point favorite. I think AR is playing, right? He's out.
I heard he was playing.
So, yeah.
You know, Gardner.
Look. The Rams, man.
Gardner Minshew.
The Rams are the best 1 and 2 team in the NFL, I think. I don't care. I know the Chargers are 1 and 2.
Look human last week.
Yeah, I know the Chargers are 1 and 2. I just don't trust the Chargers defense. I'm
liking this Rams team more and more.
I am too. Do we like a minus 112 on the money line here?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Buccaneers at the Saints. Saints 3.5-point favorite. Derek Carr playing?
Man, this one's interesting.
The Carr
Does
park?
it matter if Derek Carr's playing?
Yeah,
it does to me. I'd rather have him than Jameis Winston out there.
That's a
Spider-Man licking his fingers.
I'd take the under.
Yeah, it's 40.
10 points might get scored in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 40.5.
Oh God. Give me the
I
under.
do like the under in this
I
one.
might buy some extra points, get it in plus money, actually.
Ooh, a little 42 and a,
Ooh,
oh, take it
there you
down,
go.
38.
Yeah, I might buy it down.
There you go. Yeah, 20 to 17, 37. All right. Oh, in a game that somebody has to win and everybody's going to throw up when they watch. Broncos at the Bears.
Someone's going to win a football game.
Come on, Bears.
Broncos.
I just want Justin to get him one.
Yeah, get who wins in this game? The terrorists. That's who.
Yeah,
that's who wins because this game sucks. Raiders at Chargers. Okay, somebody give me one good reason. One good reason why I should not take the Chargers minus 6.5.
Aiden O'Connell's going to play.
Oh, no, Favre's playing?
Dude,
Raiders money line, baby.
You say Raiders money line?
Yeah. Well, have you seen the Chargers be able to stop anybody running the ball?
Dude, have you seen the Raiders play yet?
Yeah. It's called
Devontae Adams versus everybody.
Well, the Raiders haven't been able to do what all year? Run the ball. If there's ever a team you want to play against to get your running game right.
I don't know, dude. Justin Herbert's pissed.
Sounds like Austin Eckler's still out.
Austin, yeah, I know I have Kelly. So maybe I'm
like he's out there eating froyo, just getting really angry. Just like
only thing I know is Devontae Adams is the best receiver in the NFL.
For sure. Think so? I agree with that.
100%.
I agree with that. And Justin second.
Really good.
Well, I don't know. Tyreek's up there, bro. I don't know.
I just like Devontae's just the most. Devontae's bag is so deep, bro.
All right, I'm going to tell you one bet I am going to take. I'm going to take the Cowboys minus 6 today in a hate game after the way they played last week against the Patriots.
Against the Patriots? You like them at home?
Yeah.
Apparently, some stuff swirling around about Mac Jones. It's not.
Yeah.
Good.
What'd you do?
What Mac?
He probably just like kicked somebody in the balls and ran away and locker room.
He probably pulled the "You know who my dad is" card.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. I haven't came out yet, but apparently he's.
Well, Cal Hurd's been hitting at it like something like
in the organization, like they're not. It's not eye to eye right now.
Yeah, like he was hiding nudie mags in his locker or something. I don't know. That's
pictures of Trump.
Yeah. All right, Niners, Cardinals. In my Survivor League, this is the one I picked, boys.
Oh, I like this pick from you.
I'm never betting against the Cardinals again. I refuse.
You won't take the minus 14?
This line's
minus 14?
Minus 14 right now. Over under 43.5.
Take the Cardinals.
I like the over.
Maybe buy a hook there, 14.5.
Hey, what do you think about the 13.5 though? Taking it 13.5. I mean, come on now. Like you got to think the Cardinals just beat the Cowboys, so the Niners aren't going to take the Cardinals lightly.
I think the Cardinals are just a good football
They might just kind of be sneaky good. I mean, no, not good. They might just be sneaky good enough to cover double-digit spreads.
I mean, that's a lot of points. To beat here's ass.
You were up on the Giants at half big.
Do you think they can score enough points to hit this over at 43.5? Talking about the Cardinals.
Yes.
Can they score? Can they lose this 34-10?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's always two swords with Joshua Dobbs. It's either really good or it's final destination.
I wonder what the Niners TTP is.
I
hate taking TTPs, but it makes more sense in the NFL than college to me for some reason. So, saying the Niners TTP is 28.5.
I like the over.
I like the over too.
I like that over on the TTP.
I do. All right, last one. Chiefs, 8.5 point favorite at the Jets. I don't want to hear about Taylor Swift. I don't care. Please don't talk about it.
Look, all right, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. It's fake.
It's got to be fake.
Is it a Pfizer thing?
It's a Pfizer play.
It's a Pfizer play.
It's a Pfizer play.
It's starting to look like that.
Hey, do we like the Jets here?
No.
Plus 8.5?
No.
No, how? Why? Why would you?
I don't know. Something just.
I like the Chiefs and the under.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Jets. There's a lot of things wrong with the Jets right now.
See, I don't know why I would even bet this game though.
Why
would I even bet this game?
I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to say that. I'd bet the Chiefs.
Say it.
I'd bet the Chiefs to cover.
Minus 8.5.
Yes.
Really? All right, quickly, let's get to the chat before we run out of here.
All right, donation from Cat, $8.50, $5 donation. Please explain why, preemptively, a UGA doesn't drop after last night's gritty road win, but FSU drops after escaping in Death Valley.
Okay. I agree with you. Not that Georgia should drop, right? I don't think Georgia should drop, but I don't think Florida State should have dropped. I said the whole time, I don't understand how Florida State drops after playing one of the toughest schedules so far in the country, right? And then beating Clemson in Death Valley, and then you drop in the polls. That, first off, is so disrespectful to Clemson, but I don't think, in that same token, I don't think Georgia should drop. You went on the road, first road game for your starting quarterback. Georgia gets better as the year goes on. Now, I still think, like we said all week, this is the weakest of the last three Georgia teams that we've seen. I think we can all agree with that. It was bound to happen at some point. But until they give me a reason to really drop them. Now, do I think you'd be crazy saying, hey, Florida State, I'm going to put Florida State number one, or Michigan number one, and keep Georgia in that top three? No, there's a logical argument for that. But there's not a logical argument for Florida State dropping after they lost or after they beat Clemson. It makes no sense.
If I'm being as objective as possible, this is the first time where I think I would rank Michigan ahead of Georgia at number one. But
that's not crazy at all.
But as a former Michigan football player, I'd rather see Michigan ranked 19th or maybe 21st or something like that. Like, let's get them down as far as possible. I don't want to be up there.
I'm with it. It's a good question. There's logical arguments on both sides of it.
Okay, let's go to producer Justine. The NFL and sports people need to get over Taylor Swift. I'm done with their obsession. They don't know about them Swifties. Give me your thoughts.
I'm so glad Travis Kelce could put her on the map. That's awesome.
I know, right?
Yeah, Travis Kelce really raised her profile.
Good for Travis.
Not a lot of people knew who she was before this. Somebody, our buddy Spencer Clavin put out, he's like, why do people in football care? Like, what's the problem? Or something with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce being together. I was like, I want to watch football in peace, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to watch it in peace. I don't want to watch this about Taylor Swift. Like, it's the only outlet I have where it's not crazy about some stuff. And it's already nuts. I'm already stressed out about it. I'm stressed out about it every week. Did you see that Auburn game? That was like getting surgery while I'm awake.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to talk about it. I want to watch it in peace.
I
want to watch it on my multi-view with my animals and my wife and delicious dips and wings and sauces.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the Chiefs, I'd rather talk about Travis Kelce than hear anything about Jackson Mahomes or Patrick's wife anytime. Anytime. It's such a, dude, two worlds colliding.
You know what hell is? You know what hell is? Hell is me hanging out with Jackson Mahomes and Taylor Swift while Rod Gilmore narrates it.
See, they just roped us in because now we've been talking about it.
I know. So Blaine, you brought it up. Producer Justine brought it up.
Yeah, thanks, Justine.
It was my fault.
Blew it.
So Jan B, goodness gracious, my voice is just gone. Says the White Sox move to Nashville. Do y'all want to be the new owners? That's all.
Yes.
Look, I will Jonah Hill this thing.
Fine, I'll do it.
I'll gain.
I want Jonah Hill. I'm getting Shohei over here.
I'll gain weight.
Do it like the NHL.
Look, I will make it my mission to take down the Yankees. I will make it my mission.
Wow.
All right, boys.
All right.
All the donations.
Thank you, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're live tomorrow. Got great guests this week. A ton of talk about some big-time matchups this weekend. I mean, we got LSU, Missouri, Alabama, A&M, right? Unless I'm losing my mind. I mean, all across Oklahoma, Texas. Girl, stop. I can't wait to see it. We appreciate you guys. Any parting shots, thoughts, complaints?
Y'all have a good Sunday.
Good Sunday.
All right. Everybody enjoy their Sunday. We'll catch you on Monday. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. We out of here.